This season, Austin Matthews did something that hadn't been done in over a decade. Score 60 goals in an NHL season, joining an elite group of names as only 20 other NHLers have ever hit the 60 goal mark, and just 8 did so more than once. So, to celebrate Matthews' historic achievement, we'll be looking back at every 60 goal scorer in NHL history. To keep this nice and organized, we'll go decade by decade, briefly going over their 60 goal season, or seasons, while also discussing any important details. Some players will appear in more than one decade as well, but the first ever 60 goal scorer in league history wasn't crowned until the 1970s, and it was done so by perhaps one of my favorite all-time legends. The 1970s saw 5 players hit the 60 goal plateau, but it all started off when Bruins great Phil Esposito would score 60 goals and then some. Phil had a historic 76 goal, 76 assist season in the 1970-71 season, totaling 152 points, being not only the first 60 goal scorer, but the first 70 goal scorer in NHL history, which could have been due to his single season shot on goal record, taking 550 shots on goal. Esposito was an absolute unit in the 70s, as he would continue to score at an elite pace, leading the league in goals for 6 straight seasons from 1969 to 1974. His next 60 goal season would be immediately after his 76 goal season, and then he'd hit the plateau 2 more times in back-to-back seasons from 1973 to 1975. As I always used to say, Jesus saves, Esposito scores on the rebound. A year after Phil's back-to-back 60 goal seasons, Flyers' Reggie Leach would become the second player to get 60 or more, with 61 in the 75-76 season. Leach had a major impact in Philadelphia winning the cup, and he provided a great goal-scoring touch as clearly shown that year. Because of that 61 goal season, Leach is still today the franchise leader for the most goals scored in a single season. 2 pairs of Hall of Famers also led their franchises in multiple categories at one point in time, those being teammates Steve Shutt and the legendary Guy Lafleur. Those who know Guy know just how skilled of a player he truly was, as he is and will forever be talked about as one of the greatest players of all time, hitting his first and only 60-plus goal season in the 77-78 season. But I mainly want to focus on Steve Shutt, as he isn't the first player many bring up in terms of 60 goal scorers, but Shutt's 76-77 season was a great one, as he would not only score over 60 goals, but he would also hit the 100-point mark for the only time in his career. And finally, to round up the 1970s, this next player will lead us off into the next decade, as Mike Bossie was and is one of the greatest goal scorers to ever play, and he started his 60 goal dominance in the 78-79 season with his best goal scoring performance. Bossie would score 69 goals and 57 assists for 126 points, but this wouldn't be his only time he reached 60 plus goals, because he continued his success into the 1980s, doing so 4 more times, starting in the 80-81 season and ending in the 85-86 season, all while winning 4 straight Stanley Cups along the way. 3 of the 4 seasons in the 80s happened consecutively, showing just how consistent he really was. But Bossie takes us to the 1980s, where 5 jumps to 8, not including Bossie, who we already mentioned. And you'll also notice a pattern, because most of the 80s stars hit the mark in the later half of the decade when goal scoring skyrocketed for a period of time. But while Bossie was dominating, multiple others hit the mark around the same time as Bossie. The 81-82 season saw Dennis Marouk become the first new player to enter the list, and his 60-plus goal season meant more to the fans of his team than anything. The Washington Capitals of the late 70s and early 80s were atrocious, and the 81-82 season saw Marouk not only score at an insane pace, but saw him also guide the team to their first ever postseason appearance. The year after, Flames' Lanny McDonald would hit the mark, counting 66 goals and 98 points. His best total with the Flames Flames and the closest he ever got to reaching the 100-point plateau. Lanny's 66-goal success, however, is often completely forgotten about due to him capturing the cup 6 seasons later. And speaking about Stanley Cups, a handful of the other 60-goal scorers in this decade won a lot of them. Yari Curry would score 60 plus 2 times throughout the decade, despite being more well known for his playmaking abilities and high assist counts. But considering he played alongside of Gretzky, that shouldn't be a surprise, even if Curry was a superstar when Wayne departed. And speaking of Gretzky, I mean, it should have been obvious he would be here, but he is on this list 5 times, despite only scoring 62 goals once, because he recorded a 71 goal, a 73 goal, a 87 goal, and a 92 goal season, all between the age of 21 to 26, tearing the league to shreds with 3 of those 5 70 plus goal seasons, resulting in Wayne producing over 200 points. Oh, and Bernie Nichols casually posted a 70-goal season in the 88-89 season. He used to play with Wayne, but someone also rivaled Wayne as well, as Super Mario Lemieux casually put up an 85-goal, 199-point season in 1988 after tallying 70 goals a season prior. Steve Eiserman and Brett Hull round up the 80s and even take us into the 1990s. Eiserman had back-to-back 60-plus goal seasons in 88-89 and 89-90, and Brett Hull, for 3 straight seasons, would score 72 goals and an out-of-this-world 86 goals, and then 70 goals from 1989 to 1992, not including Hull and Mario Lemieux, who continued to dominate with 2 nice 69-goal campaigns throughout the 90s. Just 5 other players hit the mark, and only 1 player did so more than once, that being the Russian Rocket himself, Pavel Beret. For those who have been around for a while, I love Pavel Beret, because the way he flew into the offensive zone was amazing to watch. So it was no surprise to me when I found out he posted back-to-back 60-goal seasons on the dot in the 93-94 season and the 94-95 season. I was surprised, however, to see that the ageless wonder in Jaromir Jagr only had 1 season where he scored 60 or more. Luc Robitaille was also a name I was surprised to see just once, as he hit the mark in the 95-96 season. But the 1990s had a very interesting storyline that I specifically wanted to highlight. The 92-93 season had so many memorable moments, but one of the craziest ones was the scoring battle between Teemu Selanne and Alexander McGillney. The two were both young stars, but that season, they were constantly battling back and forth to win the scoring title. Both players put on a heck of a show, and funny enough, both players finished that season with the same amount of goals, landing themselves in the 60-goal club with a total of 76 goals each. It was truly marvelous at the time to see 2 players identically hit the same total. But after the 90s, suddenly everything stopped. Goal scoring became increasingly low, and it became a rarity for a player to even hit 50 goals, as after the 90s, just 3 more players hit the 60-goal mark, and the first player to do so did so after the lockout.
Cody for Green, he will, deflection try, score! Ovechkin overjoyed at 60.
Congratulations go out to Alex Ovechkin, the first player in National Hockey League to score 60 goals since Lemieux and Jagr did it as teammates back in 95 for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Who else but Alexander Ovechkin to break the ice and explode for a 65-goal mega season? He showcased his goal-scoring prowess and made jaws drop, since many forgot what it was like to see a player hit such a high mark. He would win the Rocket and the Hart Trophy, and it would take another 6 seasons before another player in Steven Stamkos would hit 60 on the dot, also taking home the Rocket Richard Trophy. And as of today, 10 years after Stammer's 60-goal season, we got to witness Austin Matthews make history. Matthews has made a case to win the league MVP, and pretty much has the Rocket Richard locked up, all while joining elite company. But Matthews' 60-goal season also signified that a new era of NHL goal scoring is about to begin. Recently, a lot more goals have been scored, so perhaps we will soon have another player to add to this legendary group of names. Another player who can go from 0 to 60.